Hello guys, welcome to Murtazastic. In today's video, we are going to create this photo manipulation using Adobe Photoshop called The Lost Penguin. The story of this penguin is very long and sad. It goes like this. Once upon a time, there lived a penguin whose belly was made of water. One day he got lost in the mist and this is that penguin. End of the story. Let us run the Photoshop and bring our imagination to life. Alright, here we are in Photoshop. First we are going to need a penguin and here it is. We don't need its belly, so let's cut it out. Here we go. Let us refine our selection a bit. Black background makes it easier to refine the edges. Here we go. Back to white background. Now we need water. A lot of it. Here is our ocean that we are going to fit in the belly of this penguin. Let us adjust it using warp and give it a roundish shape. Here we go. Now we need to hide the rest of this image, and for that let us add a layer mask. Let us fix these edges a bit. Here we go. Next, let's add shadows to the water using exposure adjustment layer. Slight and nice shadow on the edge. Here we go. And some shadows on the bottom. Here we go. Let's put this image here and see what happens. Warp it a bit to adjust it. Next, add a black layer mask to it by just pressing and holding Alt and clicking on Add Layer Mask. Now let us start revealing some parts. After playing with it for some time, here is what we ended with. Perfect, isn't it? I will be waiting for your comments. Now it needs shadows. Let's add it on new layer using brush tool. Let's fix this edge here. Okay, here we go. Let's add some more shadows to the water. Just create a new layer and start painting with black brush. Keep the opacity down and use a soft round brush to make it nice and light. Group the layers and I think the penguin part is done. Next we need a big whale. Here we go. Now let's try to blend this in. Let us duplicate the water layer and put it on top of the whale and clip it with the layer below it. Setting blending mode of the water layer to multiply gives it underwater look. Here we go. Let us now add a slight highlight to this whale. For that, create an exposure adjustment layer, set the blending mode to color dodge and increase the exposure. Reveal this layer only on the sides you want. Here we need the highlight to be on top. Here we go. Next, add the shadows below the whale using same exposure adjustment layer and decrease the exposure and hide it on other parts using layer mask. Here we go. I added a slight highlight to the whale using inner glow option from the blending option of the layer and created a separate layer from it. Let's adjust the whale a bit. Here we go. Next, let's make the whale to look like it is deep in the ocean. For that, let's add a new layer and start painting with this cyan bluish color on top of the whale. Here we go. The bottom of the belly is looking a bit empty. So let us add this mountain to the scene. We don't need the full image, so let us clip it with the belly and add a black layer mask to it. Let us reveal the image slightly and here we go. Next, let's add dust particles to the water. For that, I used this image, set the blending mode to screen. Let's duplicate the same image and put it on top. Decrease the opacity and here we go. Let's add light rays on top using this image. Set the blending mode to screen and add a black layer mask to it. Now let us reveal it a bit. And here we go. Let's change the blending mode to hard light and I think it is okay. Next, let's add some more details. Let's add this jellyfish to the scene. Shadows and highlights are important, so add those using exposure adjustment layer. To give it underwater look, let's duplicate the main water layer again and put it on top of the jellyfish. Clip it with the jellyfish layer and set the blending mode to multiply. Here we go. Let us group these layers. Alright, here is what we have done so far. I think we should make the inside of the penguin black. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let me create a shape using pen tool. We will fill it with this image. Clip this image with the shape and adjust it a bit. Now I will add shadows, a lot of shadows. Here we go. Let us unhide water layer and set the opacity of the water to 95%. Now we can see through the water. I think we also need to complete this wing or fin of the penguin. Just paint with black on the new layer below the water layer. And here we go. Let us unhide all other layers and here is what we have done so far. The color of the water is too bluish, so I added a hue and saturation layer and made it a bit cyanish. I did some other adjustments and here is our final penguin. Let us group all these layers together and make a duplicate copy from it. Create a smart object from the duplicate copy and let's add the camera raw filter to it. Creating a smart object made the water less transparent because of the dust particles layer, which was black and made the whole image a bit darker. I did not notice the change while I was working on the project. I am really sorry for that. After applying the camera raw filter, here is our penguin who got lost in the mist with a belly made of ocean. Now it is time to create a nice foggy background for our penguin. If you are sitting watching the video, feel free to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Okay, let's add background quickly. For background, I will use this image. Put this behind our penguin. Next, put this image on top. Let us erase some parts of this image. Here we go. Let's change the color of this layer using hue and saturation adjustment layer. Here we go. I think we don't need this part also, so let us erase it. Let's adjust these mountains a bit. Next, I am going to add some fog. Here we go. Let's make our penguin to match the color of the background. For that, I am going to duplicate this hue and saturation layer on top of the penguin. Next, decrease its opacity and here we go. The penguin needs a drop shadow. Just create a new layer and start painting below the feet of the penguin with black brush. Here we go. Let's add a slight light source on top right corner. Here we go. I think this jellyfish needs a little glow on top of it. Here we go. Let's add a camera raw filter on top and here is our final image. Not perfect, but I think it is nice. Let me know in comments what you think about this image and this video. Also check out these videos if you like this one. Don't forget to subscribe if you like to watch more such videos and turn on the notification and don't miss a single update. That is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next.